Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome once again back to Apex Online Racing, where tonight it's time to power up the flux capacitor, take it up to 88 miles an hour down the back straight as we go back to the future for the Chinese Grand Prix, going back to round 7 of season 19 of the hype energy Apex Online Racing F1 Championship. This is the only tier running tonight, so I hope you stick with us the whole way through for what should be a fantastic race here round the Shanghai International Circuit. Built at a cost of $450 million, it transformed swamplands into one of the most picturesque and most spectacular tracks on the calendar, certainly in terms of spectator views and the paddock buildings. And obviously it was also the scene of Michael Schumacher's final Grand Prix victory, his 91st and last victory in 2006. 3.387 miles round, 16 turns in all, 2 DRS zones, one down the front straight into turn number 1, but the big one is going to be down that massive long back straight down towards the hairpin at the end of sector 3. That's where we're going to see the most overtaking opportunities here tonight. And as you can see, 16 turn track there will make for very entertaining action indeed. Usual race lineup tonight. We've got an 18-minute qualifying session followed by a 28-lap race distance of around about 152 kilometres, and the longest flat-out section is just shy of 1400 metres in total. Your tyre compounds as usual, the soft, the medium and the hard compound tyres on choice. Medium's 1 point slower than the soft, the hard's 2.1, but don't expect to see too many soft runners tonight unless they're expecting rain, as they are not the best tyre for qualifying and racing overall. And now on to your championship standings, and after last week's home victory at the German Grand Prix, it is Williams' Jim Sven who is at the top of the standings still, and he's increased his lead now 136 points to his teammate Danny, stuck on 98 after that horrible weekend last week in Germany. Vasta Racer moves ahead of Casper into third, with Blizzard still in fifth, and look at that at the bottom, Nolan with his fantastic P2 up into 10th position, moved him up 7 places from where he was before last week. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams could technically clinch the championship here tonight. It is very possible that they could take the championship here tonight. They need to outscore McLaren by at least 10 points and Racing Point by 9 points to be able to take the championship here tonight. And you can see that Toro Rosso moved ahead of Alfa Romeo and Renault moved ahead of Haas last week. My name is Andy Campbell. Thank you very much for joining us here this Sunday evening once again. Joining me in the commentary booth, as always, is my commentating partner in crime. It is the one and only Mr. Kieran McGinley. Kieran, it is fantastic to have you along here, as always, once again. Looking forward to what should be another fantastic race.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you're watching, welcome along to the Chinese Grand Prix. Yeah, it should be an interesting Grand Prix, more specifically for the strategy, which we'll come on to later. As you said, Andy, we're not expecting drivers to really run the soft tyres unless they're expecting rain. So in terms of tyre wear, it doesn't look like it's going to be too much, as long as you don't run the soft tyre. And it looks like it's going to be a one-stop during this race. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the drivers take on that challenge and whether they'll try and qualify on a set of medium tyres and try and get inside the top 10. 19 cars on the grid, so we're 1 car short, unfortunately. But obviously that's one less place that drivers have to worry about, so that they can try and get at least into that top 10. It'll be interesting to see how qualifying develops.
Absolutely. The car that is missing here tonight is the Red Bull of Jocolat. He is having some wheel issues, so he's not able to make it here tonight, unfortunately. Hopefully he will be back very soon indeed. Seeing a couple of cars out on track, a couple of drivers, La McQueen, Lewis and Casper, deciding to put the soft tyres on, although Casper is still in pit lane at the moment. We're going to run through and we'll show you around this track very shortly indeed. Just try and find someone who's maybe coming around to start a lap very shortly. Let me see what way down the field. Lee Finley's coming towards the end of the lap, I think. nearly.
Indeed.
We'll wait and we'll come back to Lee in a moment. Surface goes into provisional pole at the moment, a 1 minute 32.270. So pretty much everyone on track at the moment except for Casper's Mercedes. So that's going to be interesting as Nolan puts himself up there into second. That's not representative at all from him. And then Vasta Racer instantly beats that with a 32.0. But we'll just follow around Lee Finlay coming towards the end of his outlap as Liam Parnell puts the Ferrari onto pole position, getting the first driver into the 1 minute 31.9s, and we'll go through what we're expecting from pole pace very shortly indeed. But we are going to jump on board with the Flying Scotsman, Mr. Lee Finlay, in just a second as he just stays out the way of some traffic coming up towards the hairpin. It's time for what is my favourite part of the week, because it is time for the Scott Lap. I always like doing these. So,
yeah, the only intro that has an intro. So, Mr. Andy Campbell on board with Lee Finlay, take it away for the Scott Lap.
Yeah, here we go, down towards turn number 1, DRS wide open. It's a very interesting turn 1 as well. You take it very quickly in, down the gears to 6, and you're using a lot of engine braking here rather than the actual brakes. Down to 3rd, and then quickly down to 2nd for what is turn 2. Downhill for turn 3, nicely and easy through there. Up down to 1st, and then quickly up to 3rd. Pull it to the side for what is turn 4, and then flat out all the way through the curve of turn 5, up towards turn number 6, into sector 1. Hard on the brakes, around about 70-80 metres in. 2nd gear into the apex, quickly up to 3rd once again, and then heading up towards turns 7 and 8. You're really quick through here, 7th gear, down to 6 really quickly, so Lee not too happy on the hard compound tyre there. Into turn number 8, you keep it to the right hand side because you've now got a double right hand turn of 9 and 10. Careful on the curb on the exit here, you can get a warning, or you can do what Juan Pablo Montoya did a few years back and hit a drain, and then you're coming up to a tricky braking zone here, which is turn 11, and then through the curve of turn 12. Just like turn 1, it's ever increasing and ever tightening, and then just balances out again, a bit like a yin and a yang. You've seen a McLaren pulling off to the side. That was Blizzard, who was going to try and give his teammate a slipstream, but not happening. Down this huge back straight, 1400 metres long, DRS wide open towards what is the best overtakings on turn 14. Down the gears, big lock up there from the McLaren driver. That's going to cost him at least half a second, if not more. Through the tiny part of what is turn 15, which isn't even a corner, and then through 16. Got to be careful on the exit not to run too far wide. That is a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit, and Lee only a 132.3 on that lap. 1.7 seconds down, but he did make that big mistake going into the hairpin. But that is a lap off the Shanghai International Circuit.
Yeah, and having a look at the leaderboards here, Lamarquina is the only one who set a lap time on the soft tyres, or at least his best lap time so far anyway. So, and even then, 1 second is the difference between the softs and the hard tyres. Now, that either means that Danny is on a roll or Lamarquina didn't have a great lap. So I'm going to side with the Danny is on a roll, because a 31.5 on a set of the hard tyres is pretty good, considering that we're expecting a 130.6 on the mediums is the expected pole time here. So that is quite an incredible lap there. So I think Lamarquina, there is more time to find, but he could be having issues with overheating, especially on those soft tyres. Maybe he can't quite keep them up to temperature. It's quite a similar scenario to what we had in the real-life Belgian Grand Prix, where the tyres were so soft that they did have trouble keeping the temperatures within range, just even on the out lap, let alone the flying lap. So there could be some issues there. It is a very harsh circuit on the tyres, so we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go through the tyre strategy when we hit the formation lap later on, but it's definitely a good lap time from Danny, and he's certainly been the king of qualifying so far this season. 4 pole positions to his name. His teammate Sven's got 2, and then the only other pole position sitters so far is Blizzard at Monza and Vasta Racer, which I believe was at Suzuka. So Danny's certainly proven to be the master in qualifying, but Sven is the one who's taken it where it matters most in the race. He's got 4 victories to Danny's 2. Vasta Racer and Casper are the only other 2 race victors this season, so it's quite easy to see that with 3 rounds to go after this one, why Williams could possibly wrap up the Constructors' Championship here tonight. As I say, they need to outscore McLaren by 10 points, and they need to outscore Racing Point by 9 to be able to clinch it here tonight. If not, it will go into next week when we head to Montreal in Canada. We've just been watching there as Sparks, getting a bit of help off his teammate Gamer, puts himself up into P3 on the hard compound compound tyre, 1.2 down on La Maquina's time at the moment. So it's La Maquina from Danny, Sparks, Liam Parnell, Vasta Racer in 5th, Blizzard in 6th, and you've got Perez, who's back this week in 7th, Surface in 8th, Tactician in 9th, Onyx rounds out the top 10 at the moment, and then you've got Lee Finlay, Gamer in the pits, Nolan after his great P2 last week. He was hoping for rain, he doesn't feel he's got much pace here tonight in the dry. He's in 13th at the moment. Jonathan just starting a lap in 14th position. Speedster down in 15th for the American. Fabi in the pits in 16th. Sven down in 17th at the moment, but he's on a quick lap at the moment, just gone purple in sector 2, so we'll follow him round. And then Lewis and Casper out on track, but not set a lap time just yet. In fact, just as I say that, Lewis goes into P3, but we'll follow Sven coming down the back straight as we look at the rear wing there of the Williams. The envelope opens, DRS now enabled, giving them that extra top speed, hitting nearly 210 miles an hour as you get jams on the brakes nicely into the apex there. Very well done there from the German. Coming up towards the last corner now, what can he do? Can he get himself up into that top 5? That's where he really wants to be, at least here tonight. And no, it's only just into the top 10. 1.4 seconds down on La Maquina and around about half a second down on his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. 8 minutes to go. La Maquina's still on provisional pole position, just over a second, but that is on the set of the soft tyres with Danny 131.543. On the set of the hard tyres. He is actually out on an outlap right now. He's put on another set of hard tyres. So let's see how that goes. And I think they're the same hard tyres. They're a used set of hard tyres in this qualifying session. So clearly out there to just get another lap on the board, see what lap time he can put on the hard tyres. And we are expecting most of these drivers to go and put on a set of medium tyres towards the end and just try and get the best lap time possible. If you want to try and get up the order and try and get the benefit for track position, then this is the track to go for the soft tyres. I think La Maquina is trying to do that at this moment in time. He actually goes quicker now, 130.530. He's clearly trying to prioritise track position rather than strategy and maybe hoping for an early safety car.
Well, we'll need to see. Obviously, we'll need to check on what the weather report is. I've not had a chance to check from my sources in pit lane. I'm sure you'll be able to do it because you're in the same chat as well and be able to tell us what's going on there in just a moment. Maybe he's aware of something that we currently don't know. That could be the interesting point from the Renault driver, but he is in pole at the moment. Casper just set a lap time there recently. He's now got himself up into 3rd, so everybody has set at least one lap time now with 6 minutes and 40 to go in the session. And I can hear Kieran just in the background there just waiting to come in. I think you've got a weather report for us there, buddy.
Do I?
I thought you did, sorry, I thought that's what you were checking. I've just put you on the spot then. Oh well.
Yeah, you definitely have.
I'll
put
back
my
to you.
hand out the cockpit window and see what it's like. It's dry right now. That's my weather report.
I thought you had one there, that's fine. So Nolan's just got across the line to take 9th position. So Toro Rosso's running rather well at the moment in 8th and 9th. They've obviously moved up into 5th in the championship with Nolan's great P2 last week, so hoping to capitalise on that. Quite a few drivers in the pits, a few drivers probably heading back to pits at the moment, so I get the feeling we're about to have a little bit of a lull on the track. We'll just jump on board with Danny, who is on his way back to pit lane because he's down in sector 2. Casper's on his way back as well. So I think everyone's heading for pit lane at the moment, so it's going to be a 5-minute dash coming up very shortly. La Maquina at the top, a second clear, 1 minute 30.5, but we're expecting a 130.6 on mediums, so still got time to find if that time is anything to go by, but we'll need to wait and see. Danny in 2nd, Casper in 3rd, Liam Parnell just coming into pit lane there in 4th. Blizzard coasting down the back straight in 5th position. Got up there after a nice little slipstream from his teammate Lee Finlay on the last lap. Lewis is in 6th, Sparks in 7th, Surface just gone back out now on a set of medium compound tyres. He's in 8th position, Nolan in 9th, and Vasta Racer rounding out the top 10.
And I do have now a weather report for you, Andy. Dry qualifying all the way throughout. Possibility of light rain during the race.
Ooh.
So it doesn't say when, but it does say there's a possibility of rain during the race. So that could hamper some of these strategies that are going on. Maybe the hard tyres are the way to go, but I can't see that. I think even if there's going to be rain in the race, you don't know how long it's going to be, how severe it's going to be. I think you're going to see drivers go back out on a set of medium tyres with about 2.5 minutes to go and just try and get up the order as best as they possibly can. Remember, if it rains and the drivers opt to go onto the intermediate tyres during the race, the 2 compound rule is null and void, basically. If it gets to a point where it's dry running again, they can put on any tyre they like to get them to the end of the race. But of course, that's all hindsight. We know there's rain coming. There's a possibility of rain in the race. We just don't know when it's going to hit or where, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see on the standings there, a lot of the drivers still in pit lane, but they've already fitted a set of medium tyres awaiting to go back out for another lap. Surface has got himself a bit of empty track at the moment, gone out early, so we'll just keep an eye on the Toro Rosso Greek driver at the moment, heading up towards turn number 1 with 3 odd minutes to go. He's got an Alfa Romeo, no, it was McLaren, sorry, to the inside there, but manages to avoid that very nicely indeed as he comes through turn number 2. But I mean, rain, any sort of rain, could probably be the worst thing Danny's wanted to hear tonight, because obviously the last 2 races, Australia and in Germany, some, well, I think the easiest word to say is some boo-boos, so to speak, some disastrous strategy calls has really cost him ground. He lost out on a victory in Australia due to coming into the pits during that wet race, and then last week in Germany didn't even get any points after picking up the wrong side of things with the rain, so he'll be hoping to nail it this time, or if not, Sven could be almost a nail on to take the championship in Montreal maybe.
Yeah, and once you start making those decisions there that really cost that top spot, I mean, he's given away 2 wins in a row at this point in time, so he really does not want to make it 3. He'll want to try and assert his dominance here at the Chinese Grand Prix. It's easier said than done. At the moment, you can see Sven there is down in 12th place, 32.0 on the hard tyres. That's his best lap time so far. But we did hear Sven say that this isn't his strongest track. He wasn't looking forward to this. Is this a chance for Danny to try and redeem himself and redeem some points in the championship?
He's got to take that advantage. If this is one of Sven's weaker tracks, as you said last week, then he really needs to make sure that he nails it here tonight and gets the strategy absolutely spot on, rather than doing a Ferrari strategy, which is to completely make a mess of it. Surface, as we just watched there, that entire lap, puts himself up into P2 on the medium compound tyre, 8 times, nearly 9 times down on La Maquina's time, and La Maquina is still on the soft compound tyres, so the Renault driver is really going for this aggressive take the soft option. He's hoping, I'm guessing, for early rain, or he feels that the softs, if he can pull away quick enough, might just help to balance out. It's going to be interesting to watch that one as we get into the race. Minute 50 to go here at Shanghai. You are tuned into Apex Online Racing's Hype Energy F1 League. We have gone back to the future, so to speak. It's round 7. This is the one that was postponed a couple of weeks ago due to PSN issues, so this is the only action running tonight. It was supposed to be a break week, but you get to hear myself and Kieran taking you through the action here in China instead. It's great to have you all along. I hope you'll stick with us the whole way through tonight's proceedings for what should be another exciting race indeed. But I get the feeling La Maquina is going to be taking his first pole position, because unless someone can pull an absolute dynamite lap out on the mediums, as Fabi just puts himself up into second with the Ferrari in P2, half a second down, and we're watching his teammate getting a slipstream off the back of Danny MG, so the Ferraris and the Williams working again with each other. Seen that in Germany last time, but unless someone can do a good lap in the mediums, La Maquina could be on for his provisional first ever pole position. We now have a Renault 1-2, because Jonathan, or a split second anyway, went into second, but then Vasta Racer beat that and went into third, and then Liam Parnell's gone into third as well, so all change through the leaderboard now with 43 seconds to go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Parnell went purple in Sector 2 there on a set of those medium tyres, but he just couldn't quite get the last sector done and dusted. Lee Finley then goes P4. How about Blizzard behind? I think he's just about to start a flying lap there. It's now Lee Finley's turn to give him a little bit of slipstream down the start, down the back straight. That long, kilometre-long straight all the way down towards turn 14. And the great part is, you know, when you get into 12 and 13, it's banked towards the apex, so you can carry even more speed through there. It's great when you're on the dry tyres because you've got the grip there, but when it starts to rain, that corner is very, very treacherous. The back end wants to over-rotate, and you can very, very easily lose that back end. So you've got to be careful if it starts to rain.
Absolutely, yellow flag in sector 2, we can't see it. Oh my goodness, Danny getting the snapper on there through what is turn number 11, I do believe, there on his latest flying lap. He's got a bit of traffic up ahead. One of them is the Ferrari of Liam Parnell, so they two working together. They are part of the same esports team. As Sven gets himself up into second position, only a quarter of a second down on La McQueen. The checkered flag is now out. We're going to follow Danny down towards the hairpin here. Can he get anything here? The Ferrari slips out the way. Nice and easy on the brakes. Can he get it into the apex? Very beautifully done there from the Spaniard, but look at the traffic up ahead. There's a racing point in the middle of the road. He's going to have to watch out for that. Can he get up the order? He's only 15th at the moment. Really needs a good lap here, does Danny, and he gets up to only P4. I was expecting maybe a little bit more, but he'll certainly be happy with that, considering it could have been a lot worse. Cars all over the place. I know Casper's going to be one of the last ones over the line. We'll jump to him very shortly indeed, down in 16th. In fact, we'll go to him now because here he comes towards the line, down in 17th now as Lewis goes into P2. Casper out of the line and he goes pole position. Well, 1 minute 30.4. La McQueen will have to wait for another day for that debut F1 pole position as Casper on the medium tyres, right at the last gasp of it all, steals pole position, last man over the line. He's on P1. Lovely lap there from the Dutchman.
Yeah, brilliant lap time from Casper. Left it to the last possible moment, and a 30.4 is 2/10 faster than the expected pole time here, and on the medium tyres, just under a tenth of a second faster than Lamakina, who was on the soft tyres for that run. Lewis Welsh there got a great lap in just at the last there, 30.7, which puts him onto P3. So we've got a Williams on the third row of the grid, second row of the grid. We've got one on the third row of the grid. So they are looking a bit down, but yeah, pole position goes to Casper and the Mercedes.
Yeah, fantastic lap. He was all the way down in 17th before he came across the line there, so lots of improvement in that last part of qualifying. But Casper really needs a good race here, and we'll take you through the qualifying standings with Mr. Kieran McGinley.
Absolutely. So Casper takes pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix. Lamakina, 0.05 of a second slower. Almost getting that pole position. Lewis Welsh then in third with Sven in fourth. Vasta Racer in fifth. Danny sixth. Parnell in seventh. Finley in eighth. Jonathan ninth. And Fabi rounds out the top 10. It's Sparks 11th. Lambert in 12th. Tactician 13th. Prinens in 14th. Gamer 15th. Surface 16th. Onyx 17th. Speedster 18th. And Blizzard rounding out the top 19. All 19 cars separated by 1.143 seconds. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, and Blizzard at the back of the field. Remember, he got on the podium last week in Germany from the exact same position at the very back of the field, so keep an eye on him possibly coming through the field again. Before we go to the grid though, quick word from the title sponsor, which is Hype Energy. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And we are back, and you're looking at a slightly more cloudy pit lane here at the Shanghai International Circuit ahead of what is the rerun round 7 of the season 19 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 Leagues. Only got 4 more, including tonight, we've only got 4 more races to go on this iteration of the game. We'll obviously be into the 2020 game when we come back for season 20, so going to go hopefully going out with a bang. We've got a good race lined up here tonight. We've got Canada, the Red Bull Ring, and then Interlagos to round out the season, so should be in for an interesting time towards the end of the season. But Casper getting the last bit done, and I get the feeling we might be about to have some issues because we've just lost Casper and it seems to be sticking, so we'll just need to wait and see what's going on here. Now, hopefully it's not going to cause us too much of a problem. I'll just put the background stuff up for now because I don't know what's going on. This is lovely to see when it's been waited 3 weeks to get to it, but when we do finally get underway, we're in for a good race by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, China is one of those tracks where you either come here and you love it and you get a good result, or it's a track where you just can't quite tune into the right frequency and it doesn't quite go your way. Throw some rain into the mix as well as what's forecast, and you've got yourself a real race here where you've got to be on top of your game. And it looks like I'm not sure what's going here, but
Yeah, we've lost a few. I think we're going to have to have a wee bit of a technical interlude. See, it's the one thing I kept saying to myself, it's like I should get one of those technical issue banners up, and I never ever get round to doing it. We are going to be delayed here in the start, so apologies. Something's gone wrong. We've lost about 5 to 8 drivers roughly from the grid, so that's not ideal at all. So gives us a wee bit of time to talk over a few things again. But, there's plenty of talk over from this season. I mean, looking through, I've been having a wee look through some of the statistics and everything. We went through, obviously, pole positions and wins earlier on. But I was looking through earlier on, quite an interesting one to point out was that Lewis Welsh is the person with the biggest average position gain. He's gained 5 positions during races. His average qualifying is about 14th, but his average finish is about 9th. So gaining around 5 positions. And then Fabi's the biggest loser on that. He's lost roughly about 6 positions per race, an average qualifying about 9th and an average finish of around 15th. And it's really interesting when you look through some of that, which you can see within the Apex Online Racing forum webpage. And, I love going through some of the statistics, but the big ones, Sven, 4 wins, top of the championship, 38-point gap. You can't argue with that.
Well, no, you can't argue with that. And I think that the 38-point gap is more complemented by Danny's decisions in the last 2 races. I feel like that gap should be and could be, a couple of points further down. I mean, when we headed to Germany, I think it was, at one point Sven was running in 4th place, and he made the right decision and came home to win the race. And it's one of those things where Danny is obviously not at his happiest right now. He knows that those 2 wins should have been his, but he made the wrong decision, and he's basically handed the wins over to Sven. That's not to say Sven didn't earn them, especially in Germany. He made the absolute right call by sticking on those tyres and getting it to the end so that he could take the race win. And in front of his home crowd would have made that so much more sweeter to really wrap it up there. But yeah, as you say, 4 races to go, 38 points the gap, and 104 points in theory left to score in the championship. And at the moment, it's advantage for Sven because he's got the momentum on his side. I mean, he's had 2 wins on the trot. The race before that, he had a 3rd place as well. So I mean, he's in really, really good form. And to be honest with you, I would really, really back that horse for the championship. However, as we've seen before, Danny can make those mistakes, and Sven could equally make them, especially at a track that he told us last week that he wasn't confident on. Interestingly, as well, Blizzard told us last week that he wasn't confident around the Chinese Grand Prix. Unfortunately, he starts from P19, right at the back of the field, and 1.1 seconds that covers the entire field is phenomenally close. I just wonder how that rain, if it does hit, will affect the race.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll need to wait and see how that one goes. But as you say, Sven's been very consistent, although the 2 slight blots you could say on the copybook, 16th in Bahrain, so he basically took to round 2 to get going, and a P7 at Suzuka. But apart from that, he's either been 1st or 3rd in the remaining races. Wins in Belgium, Monza, Australia and Germany with a P3 at Silverstone and at the Circuit of the Americas. Danny's is slightly more impressive apart from Germany because he's been on the podium every race he's done. So a win in Bahrain, 3rd at Spa, 2nd at Silverstone. He then missed Suzuka and Monza when his wheel was getting repaired. Came back with a bang with a victory at the American Grand Prix, and then took 3rd in Australia with the wrong strategy call. And then the big one was the P14 last week in Germany. So he can't afford to do that with 4 races to go if he wants to have any chance of overhauling his teammate. And obviously if he was to have another bad race, the likes of Asta Racer and Casper might then turn it into a freeway scrap for 2nd, while Sven possibly canters off to the championship. You can never tell what's going to happen in F1 in general, and especially when it comes to league racing. Anything can happen. I mean, look at Suzuka. Lee Finlay staying out longer caused an almighty bottleneck and plenty of action. So anything can go on. Danny needs to be at the front end tonight, though. Really does need to be.
It's critical that he's at the front end here tonight. And of course, he missed those 2 rounds, as you rightfully said, by his wheel just packing up on him. Um, so that obviously won't be in his favour. The decisions he's made have really cost him some of these wins. And without those 2 race starts that he had to miss out because of wheel needed to be repaired, it could be a season of what might have been for Danny. He will really not want it to be like that. But with 2 races out for his wheel, 2 races where he could have got the race win, but a decision he made turned out to be the wrong one. I feel like with those 4 races with decent results, the championship could be looking very, very different.
Absolutely, could be looking very different indeed if it hadn't been for those 2 races. But sometimes that's just the way things go. It's almost, in real life, especially if you go back to when I started watching Grand Prix racing back in the 90s. Yes, I am that old. Retirements, engine failures were a big thing. So, having a wheel go wrong, having your Fanatec wheel, your Thrustmaster wheel, or anything like that going wrong is the equivalent of an engine failure blow up back in the 90s, in my opinion, for this side of things. But anything can happen. Turn one, somebody could get it wrong. Sven get caught out. Danny sneaks through it all, and it could be roles reversed all over again. And we could be, back to a gap of around about 10 to 15, 18 points going into next week, and it's game on once again. But we will need to wait and see. As I say, the big thing for them tonight for the 2 Williams boys is try and get the Constructors' Championship sewn up officially. As I say, they need to outscore McLaren by 10 points and Racing Point by 9 points, if I've done my maths right, which is sometimes suspect. But then that would then allow them to just go after their own side of things and go after the Drivers' Championship instead. So it would leave them open to not having to worry about the constructors. So there's a big opportunity here where they can then decide, okay, last 3 races, pedal to the metal, foot to the floor, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think that's easier said than done. The 2 teammates will obviously want to be winning the Drivers' Championship. The team will certainly want it to be win the Constructors' Championship. However, again, it's easier said than done. They have to outscore certain teams by 10 and 9 points, respectively. It's easier said than done. I've said it before. I'll say it again, just so we are all clear. Yeah. So in terms of the 2 teammates right now, as we've heard from the both of them, there's a good atmosphere right now with 4 races to go. I wonder if that's going to change at any point. Obviously, the two of the it's always tougher when the 2 championship rivals share the same pit box. So they have to adjust the strategy around those 2. The team have to decide, well, who are they going to favour? Is it going to be the car in front at the time, or are they going to favour Sven because he's at the top of the championship? Are they going to make decisions that are best for the team to begin with? And if they wrap up the constructors, then they can let the drivers have free reign, as you rightfully said, Andy. That could be an option. When you've got 2 drivers on the same team battling away, it becomes much more of a headache. It's not your typical Mercedes versus Ferrari. This is an inter-team battle. So it can get a little bit tense. It can get a little bit nervy, especially between the 2 drivers. But they're both professionals. They've both got level heads. They've got a good head on their shoulders as well. So hopefully it won't boil over, but hopefully they'll leave all the action and all the racing on the track and remain friends off it.
Yeah, that would be what we like to see, and I'm sure that will be the case. They're both part of prominent esports sort of teams, so to speak, so that'll definitely be one to keep an eye on. We finally are on track by the looks of it, so happy days. We have finally got the ability to go racing here for what is now the rerun of the Chinese Grand Prix, basically, as was pointed out in the chat. Let's just get the tyres up. So all medium in the top 10 except for La McQueen in second place, and then outside the top 10 it's no surprise to see everybody on the hard compound tyres. You can see the strategy up on the screen just now, what we're expecting to see here tonight. Kieran, take us through that.
Yeah, we're looking at medium to hard with the pit window opening on lap 8 to 12, or those outside the top 10, hard to medium, pitting on lap 15 to 18. That's when their window opens. Although it's not going to be as simple as that. According to the weather forecast, we're going to be expecting rain towards the end of the Chinese Grand Prix. So those on the hard tyres, do they have to make the call to try and make those tyres last as long as possible and try and then just make the one stop onto the intermediate tyres? Do those on the medium tyres decide to go for 2 medium runs and try and go on to the inters for the end of the race? Or do they try and risk it going on slicks and try and just nurse the car and feather the throttle all the way through? The only one I can see that's going to have an issue with all of this is Lamborghini. Now, he's starting on the soft tyres. Expect him to switch onto the hard tyres very early on. I'm thinking lap 4 to 5. If even then, he'll probably go onto the hard tyres and try and make those tyres last till the intermediates are maybe needed, because it is going to be light rain towards the end of the race. That's going to bite him on the backside if intermediate tyres are not needed, and you could make it to the end on the slick tyres. So 3 different types of strategies going on, with one type only being used by one driver. So yeah, this should be a good one. And with that rain hitting on late, let's see how it's going to affect the driver's strategies.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting indeed. We could end up like Belgium earlier on in the season, where a lot of drivers chanced it in the last couple of laps as the rain came so late on in the race, and then a few drivers did pit and make a few positions, so we'll need to keep an eye on it. But as you can see here, coming down towards the grid, you've got Casper on pole position. It's his second pole position, his first pole position of the season, sorry, I stand corrected. La McQueen on his outside, which is the inside for turn number 1. Then Lewis Welch up there, the pad runner, with Sven, the championship leader, in 4th. And then you've got Vasta Racer Danny, Liam, Lee Finley, Jonathan and Fabi rounding out the top 10. This is Apex Online Racing. This is round number 7 of the championship here on the PlayStation 4. We're getting ready for lights out here in China. 5 red lights. And we've got drive-through penalties already as round 7's underway. La McQueen's jumped the start, so Sven. He's jumped into the lead there, so Sven takes the lead, but he's got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start there. Getting a little bit too eager to get a go in there. Casper's dropped down to 3rd at the moment. We're following him through turns 1 and 2 and into 3, side by side with Lewis Welsh, but the top 2 both have a drive-through penalty. Sven and La McQueen. Lewis pushed off onto the gravel there. This could cause a huge almighty accident, and it has. Big accident. Safety car out. And well, that could be an interesting one indeed. No Blizzard, he is out. Prinez is out. There's carnage all over the road. There's going to be cars everywhere with damage. That Sparks there looks like he's got possibly no damage he's got away with there. Let's just run away through. Onyx was knocked far back there as well. That Red Bull's got wing damage. I think one of the Alphas does, and I think Tactician does as well. So that all happened with Casper and Lewis being side by side. Lewis got onto the gravel, whether he was forced there or just got sideways, it's hard to tell from the camera angle. I'm sure the people in the chat will be having plenty to say about that one right now. But then he came back across the track, spinning across, and unfortunately Blizzard and Prinez out off the race, and drama already at the start of lap 1.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, it was nip and tuck between Casper and Lewis there, but I think Lewis is going to get a slap on the wrist for an unsafe rejoining onto the track. You can't just pull onto the track with 10 other cars behind you, especially onto the racing line on lap 1. Meanwhile, we are back under green flag racing here, and drivers trying to take full advantage. There is Casper there trying to go up the inside of Lamborghini. Lee Finley finds a way past Danny there, who now drops down to 5th place here, and Lamborghini and Sven have that drive-through penalty looming over their heads. So that is an advantage there for Danny, who will be able to try and take advantage. So it's going to be tough here for Sven to try and recover from that one. Finley having to defend from Danny in towards turn 1. Vasta Racer behind as well, looking to try and take full advantage. Jonathan and Lambert there, well, they're just having a good time there. The 2 Ferraris, meanwhile, 7th and 8th, trying to chase down Vasta Racer here. But that VSC has bunched up the cars a little bit. That would have helped out Lamborghini just a little bit there, as he manages to hold onto those soft tyres for a couple of corners more. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes on. Meanwhile then, Sven has a 1.3 second lead over Lamborghini, but yet he's got a drive-through penalty looming over his head. And it just looked like that Sven obviously took the start, and Lamborghini sort of reacted. It was that chain reaction where you see someone move in front of you and you go yourself as well. So they've both jumped the start there. That's unfortunate for them both. They've got to serve their drive-through penalty either this or next lap, of course, unless there is a safety car that's deployed. So they'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. But yeah, at the moment, no DRS online just yet. That will be next time around. But Casper looking right on the back of Lamakina, going down the kilometre-long back straight. You can see Lamakina goes defensive instantly, then into the slipstream. The Mercedes goes down, going down the long back straight towards turn 14. Casper moves to the left-hand side, then he's on the outside, on entry, in towards the hairpin. A little bit of a lock-up there on entry. Can he keep the car stable? Then he'll have the inside line for turn 16. But look at this, Lamakina just about has the outside line here. The Renault gives the Mercedes the space, but then runs wide and comes back onto the track there. And he holds and retains that position in second place. Sven then leads on lap 3 as Casper now tries to move around the outside. Lamakina defends that. Casper then trying to spot the move up the inside, creating that gap. He'll now be on the outside then, but he gets a little bit of a tank slapper going through and has to back out of it. And Lamakina just about holding on. And the more Lamakina and Casper fight, the better it's going to be for Sven. He's got that drive through, and through the pit lane here, you're going to lose about 20 to 23 seconds. So that could be a good thing for Sven, because it means he's leaving the other guys behind him. That means, in theory, net lost time is down.
Yeah, absolutely. The more that allows the gap to build, it's just going to help Sven later on, but he is in the lead with a drive-through. Lamakina's got a drive-through as well, and Casper is technically the net leader of the race. As you see Blizzard leaving the session, one of the drivers caught out in that turn 4 incident, with Lewis Welch coming back across the track after being squeezed off by the looks of it by Casper. We'll need to wait and see. Point of views can be very different from what we see on the stream sometimes. Meanwhile, Danny is trying to get onto the back of Lee Finley. You can see Casper up ahead trying to get onto the back of Lamakina, and there should be a couple of easy overtakes here because DRS is now enabled down towards turn number 14. You can see Lamakina and the Renault going to the outside to try and block off the Mercedes. I'm trying to find a camera angle which isn't terrible, to be perfectly honest, but they're still side by side coming out through 15 up towards 16. But Casper has got the move done and he's through, and Lamakina's heading for the pits for his drive through, as is Sven. So they've left it as late as they can to come through, and well, that's where is Casper going? Casper's in the pits as well. Okay,
he lost it. He lost it around the final corner.
Wow. Missed that one there. I do apologise. Casper, after just taking the lead, loses it and drops down the field. Meanwhile, Danny and Vasta Racer fight out, so Lee Finley now leads the race. I didn't even see Casper losing it there. I was watching, we were trying to get the cameras changed, so apologies for missing that one. But after just taking the lead, Casper, another mistake, and that's a few mistakes he's made this season. Remember Bahrain, Tank Slapper and Monza, which was 50-50. He's made a couple of wee errors, and that's another one. He's already got himself back up to 11th. Sven is just behind him by 2.5 seconds. So Sven comes back out in 12th, Lamakina in 13th, but they've still got to make a pit stop, and they've already done the drive-throughs at least, so now they can race on. Big gainer on the first couple of laps, so Speedster up 10 positions in P8 from the 18th on the grid, so managed to avoid all the carnage on lap 1 and avoid getting any damage. So the American looking good at the moment. Obviously your biggest losers are Casper and Lamakina and Sven. In fact, Lewis is down 14 positions as well because of what happened too, so he's your biggest loser overall, but plenty going on there. And Casper, another mistake.
I'm not sure about that, because Lamakina, obviously you go straight on to get into the pit lane entrance, and Casper was going left around the final corner. Was there contact between the Renault and the Mercedes? Maybe there was. Meanwhile, Surface and Speedster battling away. Speedster in 8th place, Surface now in 9th as we make our way around the final corner. Yeah, we didn't get the best camera angle for that one, but it just looked like the Renault was going straight on there in towards the pit lane to take his drive-through penalty. Casper turning left around the final corner. That might be investigated after this race. Meanwhile, Surface then gets ahead of Speedster then as we make our way through that long right-hander, that tightening apex corner, as you then hand down in towards the left-hander. And careful on the exit there, you do not want to spin up those rear tyres. Meanwhile then, Finley now leads the Grand Prix ahead of Danny and Vasta Racer, and Finley said he was really, really nervous for this one. Well, those nerves aren't showing right now, currently leading here at the Chinese Grand Prix.
Absolutely, and Casper's into pit lane and coming back out now on a set of hard compound tyres, so I'm guessing he's probably picked up some damage somewhere there, or maybe just decided, since once he's dropped down the field, now's the time to get into the pits, make that pit stop and try and just run as long as possible. See Vasta Racer running very wide out of what is turn number 11 there. Needs to be careful, you can pick up a warning going that far out wide. Drivers have been told, as they always are, track limits are the white lines. Can be pulled up to the stewards if you overdo that one there if other drivers do see it. But down towards turn 18, we're only getting rear wing shots at the moment, which is an absolute frustrating thing. So we'll look at the back of the McLaren and see the rest of the field come charging towards us. Look at the difference under braking as the concertina effect takes into consideration there. Danny really closing up onto the rear diffuser of the McLaren of Lee Finlay there as we go through the final corner, turn 16, to complete lap 5 and on to lap number 6. And oh, it's been all go, go, go once again, and once again you can see that the top 10 have kind of disappeared a little bit from the rest. We've got 7 seconds separate the top 10, and then a 5-second gap between Sven, 6.5 second gap, sorry, between Sven and Sparks. And obviously Sven's not made a pit stop, he has done a drive-through penalty jumping the start, as has La McQueen, who's on the soft compound tyres, so expect him in very, very shortly indeed. But the rest of the field pretty close together, the top 7 especially, all within DRS range as we're on lap 6 here. But Lee Finlay looking good at the moment out front, keeping it nice and clean, and he's got the charging Spaniard, the Matador, behind him. He wants first place, he needs first place here tonight.
Absolutely, and Lee Finlay, who hasn't been on the podium so far this season, currently leads the way here in China. And no, he's not got to yet make this stop. He is on the same strategy as Danny, Vasta Racer, Fabi, Parnell, and so on and so forth. So if Danny's going to find a way past, he needs to do it on track, at least for now, as he now makes his way through that final corner, that bank corner now in towards the inside, as he now makes his way down that kilometre-long back straight into the slipstream, trying to wait and see if that DRS will help you close in there down towards turn 14. But you can see there Finlay actually keeping a really good distance away from that Williams there. So Finlay's car definitely set up for the straight line speed. If not so, that ERS is set up to perfection there for Finlay as we now make our way around the final corner. Finlay then will lead on lap number 7. Danny in second, with Vasta Racer in third, Fabi fourth, and Parnell in fifth, Jonathan sixth, Lambert in seventh, Surface 8th, Speedster 9th, and Sparks rounds out the top 10 with Sven outside of the top 10 in 11th place, and his championship rival Danny currently in second place. The Spaniard has to take advantage of this. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely, plenty of people in the chat are saying the exact same thing, that he really needs to take advantage of this. I do think he might just be sitting there and waiting, because down the straight there with DRS, Danny had the ERS battery turned down to 0. He had it down to absolutely nothing, so he's just trying to charge it up and wait his time to pick his moment by the looks of it. But he needs to be careful, because obviously he's got Vasta Racer just in behind him, as well as the two Ferraris who are having probably their best race so far this season. Fabi up in 4th, and Liam Parnell, who took over from Dezo a couple of races back, he's up in 5th position. So both Ferraris having a lovely race at the moment. That's Vasta Racer running wide there, so Fabi might fancy his chances very shortly. That's the second lap in a row that the German driver in the Racing Point has ran wide through what is turn number 11. You need to be very careful what he's doing there. He can get warnings, as I say. Drivers can report it if they feel it's abusing track limits. You can see them just the snake weaving once again down the back straight. Just Lee Finlay trying to break the DRS. You can see there again Danny down to 0 on his battery. Lee Finlay's using more to stay ahead and then having to charge up in the braking zones. Just look how close that Williams gets to the back of the McLaren into turn number 14 as you come up to complete yet another lap here. And now, with this possibility of rain, we don't know when. They're saying that we've convicted light rain at some point in the race. Do these guys try and go as long as possible? But then obviously you run the risk of losing temperature, which will then take away all the performance, and then possibly, if you wear too much, punctures as well.
Yeah, we're expecting the rain towards the end of the race, so we're not quite sure when it's going to hit, but we should be seeing that track being slightly damp or at least greasy towards the end of this race. So keep an eye on the skies. We'll keep an eye on the halo as well, because that's a really good indication of if it is raining out there on track. 21 laps to go. Finlay leads from Danny and Vasta Racer. That is your top 3 so far. Sparks, meanwhile, is trying to close in on Speedster as we make our way through the high-speed chicane, almost through left and then through right. You've got to really be careful on your tyres and through your aero as well. Try and use your aero to your advantage there there as you now make your way in towards that left-hander, the double left-hander, I should say. Speedster, you could see there, trying to brake and try and get a better traction and exit through the double left-hander, and it worked a treat there as he's pulled out a little bit of a gap over Sparks once again. But let's have a look at the battle for the lead then. Once again, Findlay making his way around turn 13 and then instantly trying to break that slipstream behind him to Danny and Vastaracer, Fabi, Parnell. Of course, they're all picking up a little bit of tow, a little bit of extra tow from the car ahead of them, heading in towards turn 14. A little bit of a lock-up there from the McLaren driver as Sparks there. Looks like he's got away past Speedster. Yes, he has, down the back straight, in towards the hairpin, but they touch there, in towards the hairpin. Speedster backs off and lets Sparks go, and I think Speedster just mistimed his braking point ever so slightly and ran into the back of the Alfa Romeo ahead of him, but no damage done to either cars, and they can continue on the race.
Absolutely. It's obviously Sparks getting by there. He had the DRS, and obviously with the extra overspeed, just having to brake a little bit earlier than he maybe normally would without it, just catching Speedster out very, very slightly instead. Meanwhile, Onyx and Gamer, so it's Haas and Alfa Romeo Part 2 coming out of turns 14, 15 up towards 16, and Onyx, the Dutchman, is going to get that move done on Gamer, the Scotsman. But here comes Gamer. He's going to try and make his way back through. He's going to have to go to the inside line coming up towards turn number 1. Can he get the move done? He's got DRS to help him. Sweeps on by. They're still side by side going through 2 and up towards turn number 3. You can see there the Alpha just squeezing just ever so slightly to keep the Haas behind, and they're just cutting the door off through turn number 3 and into 4, and having lost the place through 14, gains it back through 1, 2 and 3 and back up into what is 14th position. Does Onyx fancy a move into turn 6, just filling the mirrors, just backs out of it though at the last minute. We'll come back to them very shortly because the lead cars are onto the back straight once again. Lee Finlay once again keeping them all in check. You can see Danny just turning the ERS up till the DRS point and then turning it back down again. He's just, I think these guys are just playing it safe at the moment. They're just keeping it nice and tidy. The top 6 have pulled away from anyone else. Nolan Lambert has fell off the back of these top 6. So Lee Finlay, Danny, Vastaracer, the 2 Ferraris, the Fabian, Lee Parnell and Jonathan, they're just all flying through on that low curb shot there, and they are pretty much starting to pull away from the field. Meanwhile, Tactician has got by on La McQueen well before the DRS point there, so the Renault driver really struggling on those soft compound tyres. He's going to start falling through the field like a stone if he's not careful. Meanwhile, Onyx getting up close to the back once again on Gamer down into turn 14. Nothing doing there. They're now onto the back of that Renault La McQueen, and Lewis Welsh having got caught out in turn 1. And his rejoin caused the accident that brought us the virtual safety car. He's starting to try and claw his way back through, but I get the feeling he's got some damage. Meanwhile, you can see Gamer making an easy pass on La McQueen, and La McQueen, I wonder if he's got some problems there, or if he's just decided, I don't have the grip, I'm not going to fight it. Dropping back down the field very, very quickly. He's got to come into the pits, surely, to get off those soft compound tyres, because it will be screaming in absolute agony. Those tyres will be absolutely shot and gone, and you just think maybe, yeah, he's really slowing down, he's backing off, and I think we might be about to see a Renault maybe even retire from the race shortly. It would be such a shame, having started up in P2. Back towards the front end of the field though. Here go once again Danny's kept the ERS up to 4 this time, a little bit longer, trying to see if he can close into the back of the McLaren. Does he fancy a late break and move into 14? Does not, thinks better off it and backs off once again, and it is still 6 cars in a very long line here as we go to complete lap 10 and head on to lap number 11 here at Shanghai. 20 laps. There's a Ferrari flying into pit lane. That'll be Liam Parnell, I think. La McQueen does retire as expected. Vastaracer in, Fabian it was. So 2 pit stops there. Virtual safety car, and that will be because of where La McQueen has parked it. Now he will get pulled to the stewards for that, but what timing for Vastaracer and Fabi. They're going to get a cheap pit stop out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're all into the pits now as they try and change tyres then. So we're expecting those to go onto the hard tyres as Vastaracer and Fabi have. Sven into the pits as well onto a set of hard tyres. It's not quite a free pit stop, but it's as close as they're getting right now. Ongo a set of hard tyres for the Williams driver as he now makes his way down the pit lane. And he might not lose the position here to Tactician behind, which he doesn't. He rejoins in 11th place. So no positions lost. And there goes the green flags here. We are now back under full course green. And Lee Finlay still leads the way ahead of Danny. Parnell in 3rd with Jonathan in 4th. Lambert in 5th with Surface 6th. Sparks in 7th, Speedster 8th. Vastaracer in 9th with Fabi's right on the tail of the Racing Point ahead of him coming out of the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So plenty going on. Vasta Racing and Fabi getting a cheap pit stop there. Sven as well. That might just pull him back into contention later on in the race, because obviously up ahead, everybody from first down to 8th have still to make a pit stop. Vasta Racer is the first driver who has made a stop in this race along with Fabi, and now Sven, having dropped down the field from 4th position starting point, getting a drive through from jumping the start, he's now pulled himself back into contention. So that was probably the best thing that could have happened. He might be deciding to buy La McQueen a little bit of alcoholic beverage or something afterwards. Who knows? Here come the leaders at the pit lane. Danny, he's punted him. There's contact. He's gone wide. Resets back on. Danny's gone through. There's Liam Parnell going through as well, doing the old Sebastian Vettel move. Lee Finlay will not be happy there. Nolan Lambert goes into the lead of the race. Surface in second, so Toro Rosso 1-2, but contact into pit lane there. Danny just getting into the back of Lee Finlay's McLaren. Hopefully that'll leave no damage. Where is Danny? We need to see if he's getting a wing change. Doesn't look like it, and he's going to get back out just ahead of both Lee Parnell, and Lee Finlay. But look who's gone ahead of him, Vasta Racer and Fabi. So that cheap pit stop worked out an absolute treat for those guys. They've now jumped around about, what's that, about 4 or 5 cars they've jumped ahead of, so that's worked out really nicely for them. And these guys are your net 1 and 2 in the race once the top 4 come into pit lane. But the top 4 are on the hard compound tyres. We are expecting rain at some point in this race.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be an incident Danny's going to be pulled to the stewards for as well, heading into the pit lane. And it's those sort of mistakes he didn't need in this race. So he's got to keep his head down, keep focused now, and try and get the best result he can. Lee Finlay will be absolutely fuming about that one, leading the race. And obviously we'll have to get some points of views, but I think that was Danny running into the back of the McLaren there in the pit lane. And of course, it is the responsibility of the car following the car ahead to make sure that they don't make contact, especially going into the pit lane. So it doesn't look great for Danny at the moment, but he's just got to keep focused for now.
Absolutely, car behind is the one responsible for avoiding the contact, unless of course the car in front is brake checking, and that definitely wouldn't have been the case. They're just slowing down at the pit lane. And Danny just got, I'm guessing he just got unsighted slightly, just didn't expect it to be such a slowdown, and just caught the McLaren. But what that's done is taken Lee Finlay down 2 positions, because that allowed both Danny to get through and Liam Parnell as well. Whereas coming into pit lane, Lee Finlay was ahead of both of them there, so it does have an effect on the McLaren driver's race. But he's looking very racy at the moment. He's probably got a bit of the red mist coming through, a bit of Scottish temper coming in. He's going to chuck it down the inside here into turn number 1. Can he get it slowed down in time? We see them going side by side through turns 1 and 2, and that's a nice little move there from Lee Finlay, and he gets by on the Ferrari of Liam Parnell, back up in the 8th position. Now he's got 2 seconds to go and chase down Danny and try fairly to get some revenge for pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got to keep his head about him, keep his wits about him as well. He does not want to let his emotions get the better of him. He just needs to pass him on the track. And of course, that's easier said than done. Meanwhile, Vasta Racer and Fabi here, 5th and 6th, the close battles on the track here, as they now make their way through the double left-hander of turns 9 and 10 down the short straight towards turn 11 there. You can see the Ferrari going wide, as Vasta Racer has done that a couple of times this race. And as you say, Andy, if the drivers want to, they can pull other drivers in for track limits, as long as they've got evidence there, and the white lines are the track limits. We'll have to wait and see how that goes about. Meanwhile then, Fabi has lost time going through turn 13 there on Vasta Race. You can see now how far away he is. The Ferrari will have DRS heading down towards turn 14, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Into the braking zone they go, and yeah, it's not enough as they slow the cars down then in towards turn 14. You can see Parnell there trying to follow Lee Finlay, having been passed by him earlier on this lap in towards turn 1. It was a nice move from Lee Finlay just to revisit that one. A really, really nice move, but fair play to both drivers. They're giving each other the space as Danny sets the fastest up the race, 34.304.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great driving from both of them. Gave the space. Lee got up the inside and Liam gave him the space there. And it would go through turns 1 and 2 side by side before the McLaren pulled ahead before turn 3. Very nicely done from both of them. Tactician into pit lane for his pit stop. He's managed to take those medium tyres around about 13 laps roughly. He's gone on to another set of medium tyres, so he is expecting the rain to come before the end of the race to be enough to put him onto intermediate tyres, because obviously if it was a dry race he would have to do one more pit stop. because he's done both medium to medium by the looks of it, sir. So we'll keep an eye on things there. Meanwhile, watching Speedster, who's came from down the field. I mean, he's made up at the moment 14 positions, having started down in 18, pretty much the last row of the grid here for the American. Currently up in 4th, running the alternate strategy on the hard compound tyres. Surface has done the same thing from 16th. He's in 2nd place at the moment, and Nolan Lambert up 11th place from P12. He's in the lead of the race at the moment as well. So still a few pit stops to go, and as you see, the top 4 are still to pit in this race. Everybody else has made at least that one stop that they need to do to get off the mediums, and some of them have decided to pit due to damage as well to get off the hard compound tyres. We're halfway through the race, lap 14 to 28 here at Shanghai. Don't forget, we have seen 2 drive-through penalties, one for Williams Jim Sven, who's down in the 11th position at the moment. The other one was La McQueen, who is now retired from the race and caused that second virtual safety car because he did stop on track, which will probably get him taken to the steward's office afterwards as well. Meanwhile, we've got Lewis going round the outside there. We just caught the end of that of Gamer into turn 14, so nice little move there from the Red Bull driver, the only pad runner in the league to my knowledge, and he's trying to make up after getting punted off, basically pushed wide at turn number 3-4 on lap number 1. That's what caused the 2 retirements for Blizzard and Priniz. He came back on track and caused an almighty rammy. Need to wait and see if that one gets pulled as a dangerous rejoin or not, but it certainly made for entertainment on lap 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did, and the thing, if it is taken to the stewards about dangerous rejoin, it'll be a case of was he in control of the car. Obviously, if he's trying to correct a spin, then there's not much he can do about rejoining the track, so I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that one after this race. But in the meantime, we'll have to focus on the 16 drivers that are currently still in the Chinese Grand Prix. Nolan leads here ahead of Surface and Spark. Speedster is in 4th place there, but they are all yet to stop in this Chinese Grand Prix. As you can see, the clouds have broken up just slightly, actually, compared to a couple of laps ago, but don't take that as a sign of better things to come. Rain is on the way, but it will be towards the end of this race, so expect the dark clouds to be forming anytime soon. Lambert comes into the pits then from the lead of the race on lap number 60. Well, technically 15 for him, as he makes his way down the pit lane towards his box, though. So this just should be medium tyres that go onto the Toro Rosso, which it is indeed. The crew get the switch, make the change, and away he goes. So whereabouts does Lambert rejoin? He'll probably rejoin behind Sven. Yes, he will. Just coming out the pit lane now. So he rejoins in 11th place, but he's on medium tyres now. So in theory, he should have the advantage on the tyres, at least for now.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll need to wait and see how that one goes. When we were skipping through there, I was just noticed that down the backstraight, Speedster was not using DRS despite having it available to him. So I wonder if that Haas has got a DRS failure at the moment that the team are trying to work on in pit lane. We'll follow him at the moment towards the back straight as we get the lovely overhead helicopter shot through turns 9 and 10, that double left-hander towards the end of sector 2. And we'll just see if the Haas is in DRS range. Detection point is just there pretty much at that white line, so he is going to get it, and we'll see if he does actually use it, because last lap round he didn't, and I think maybe this Haas might have a DRS failure on his hands at the moment. Let's have a look and see as he comes up to the detection point. Nope, he is using it, so maybe it was just a one lap thing or so and it's been fixed, or he decided not to use it, but he has got it, so that's good for him, because that's the last thing you want, is to have a technical issue stopping you from being able to attack or defend from the car behind, or go try and make a move on the car in front.
Yeah, and it's hugely frustrating as well if it happens at that exact moment you're trying to get through. Meanwhile, then Spark and Speedster come into the pit lane. Lambert is right on the back of Sven here on the exit of turn 14 as we head through 15. Surely not looking for a move up the inside of 60. No, he doesn't, but he's definitely looking for a move at some point, as he's looking now down the start-finish straight, looking for the outside line. I don't think he needs it because he's already got the position done. Lambert with the DRS moves up a position. He's now up to P8 with drivers around him hitting in, and that is going to be a huge blow for Sven here to try and keep the points up, or keep the points advantage as high as possible. Meanwhile, Speedster then, who's just rejoined on a set of fresh medium tyres, now around the outside of Lewis Welsh then, as we head through turn 3. Watch out for the exit here, because this is where the Haas is really going to be shining through then, through the slight kink of 5 and onwards towards turn 6 there. He's got the inside line. Can he get the traction down with those fresher medium tyres? Yes, he can. And Speedster moves now into the points in the Chinese Grand Prix. And Welsh there, along with Gamer on 15-lap-old hard tyres, they, of course, had to pit in early to repair damages. And they're just praying for some rain to shake up this race again.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to keep an eye on Nolan Lambert as well, because although he was saying he was praying for some rain, didn't feel like he had the dry pace. He is the highest runner on medium compound tyres that have just been fitted within the last so many laps. Everyone else around him, except for Speedster, is on the hard compound tyres. So Nolan's got the grip advantage at the moment before this rain's possibly going to show up. We'll need to wait and see, and he'll be looking to take as much an advantage of it as he can. You can see just how much later he can get on the brakes than Jonathan, who's on hard compound tyres, but they're only 5 laps old. But even then, such a grip advantage there for the Frenchman, and it looks like he's going to pull the same move he just did last time by on Sven. He's going to do it now on the German in the Renault, up the inside into turn number 1. Nicely done, Jonathan. I don't think fought that too much, realising the car behind's on medium compound tyres just out of pit lane, lets him through, and Lambert up to 7th position. He's got 3 seconds to catch up to this man, which is Liam Parnell in 6th position, who's still keeping tabs with Lee Finley. Lee's not really pulled the gap into Danny in 4th position, so that's kind of stabilising there. Danny in 4th at the moment. You've got Fabi up in 3rd, still within half a second of Vasta Racer, having easily his best race of the season, and he's been so unlucky in some races as well, has Fabi. Some of his retirements have been through no fault of his own, just wrong place, wrong time, so it would be really, really encouraging to see him get a good result here today. Your race leader is Surface in the Toro Rosso. There he is, all by himself out front at the moment, but he is still to make a pit stop in this race, trying to drag this one out, you think, to maybe if it rains, see how long he can take them. He's got 8 and a bit seconds at the moment over Vasta Racer and Fabi, who are the first guys that have pitted. Danny's trying to close in on them, about 1.5 seconds back, and then you've got Lee Finley and Liam Parnell, and I think Liam is going to try and close in, but not close enough at that point under braking. Jonathan not too far behind on Nolan Lambert, having just made that move. Sven a second behind at the moment as well, so he's slowly going backwards. Meanwhile, here comes Casper on the back of Gamer. The Mercedes part is the meat in an Alfa Romeo sandwich, and considering Alfa Romeo is Italian, that will probably be quite a tasty sandwich as well, but Casper certainly won't want to be there at this point in time. Another poor race for him. He's got lucky though, because the Gamer has decided to come into pit lane. He's just making his second pit stop, that'll be now, but he did run 16 laps on those hard compound tyres. But Casper, another race, and well, what could have been again?
Yeah, what could have been again? I was just having a look at the previous results for the Ferraris. Actually, Fabi running in 3rd place at this moment in time. So far, it'll be his best result of the season. His previous best was at round 8, if that makes sense. 7th place at the German Grand Prix. So he'll be wanting to try and finish on the podium. In terms of Parnell, well, his best finish, he's currently got 3 points on the board, a 9th place at round 3, his first race of the season. He didn't take part in the first 2 rounds because he replaced someone at the very start. And yeah, it's been 3 points. He got a point scoring round last time out as well. So he's currently running in 6th place, so not too bad for him. And he'll be wanting to get some really good points on the board.
Absolutely, his points paying position in round 3, he was actually in the Toro Rosso that time as a reserve. He's now taken over from Dezo, obviously, from last round in the Ferrari, so he's now full time to the end of the season, and doing rather well to try and get Ferrari off the bottom of the Constructors' Championship, because obviously last season they were in the wooden spoon position. They are so far this season as well, but the last couple of races they've gone from 0 points to 14 points in 2 rounds between Fabi and Liam, so it's working out really, really nicely at the moment, and with them both in 3rd and 6th, another good points haul is potentially on the cards. But we've still got, was that 9 laps to go, including the one they're on, and possibility of rain on the way, despite the fact that outside the commentary box it looks rather sunny at the moment. You can just about see through the Shanghai smog that's usually overhanging the track, and it's looking rather nice at the moment. Here comes Sven, P9 at the moment, getting onto the back of Jonathan's Renault, trying to make his way through the field. If you're wondering why the German's so far down the order, he jumped the start, had a drive-through penalty, dropped him down to 12. He's made his pit stop as well, but not able to recover, and he did say to us last week, Shanghai's probably his least favourite track in the calendar, one of his poorer tracks, that's for sure. Onyx has left the session down in 16th, so he's running as a ghost car at the moment. So we're down to 15 runners out of 19. Prines and Blizzard taken out in a lap 1 incident where Casper and Lewis were side by side. Lewis got on the gravel and then hard camera angle to tell if it was a dangerous rejoin, if he was in control or not, but it took out both the McLaren and the Racing Point and caused damage to a good number of other cars as well. La McQueen started on the soft compound tyres. He was a drive-through penalty as well for jumping the start. Also as Sven goes up the inside of his teammate Jonathan in the Renault up into what is now P8, and then La McQueen retired on track, causing another virtual safety car, which is not ideal at all. Meanwhile, Sparks in 11th, just slipping by past Lewis Welsh there under DRS. Nice easy move. The Red Bull would have been a bit defenceless without the DRS to help him there, and that puts the Alfa Romeo up into 11th. And at the moment, Sparks needs to get a move on if he wants to keep his run going. Remember, Sparks is the only driver to have finished in the points in every race so far this season, but he's currently in 11th and he's got 3.5 seconds to 10th position, so that run might be about to end here today.
Well, he's on medium tyres, and of course there is that rain on the forecast. Whether we'll need those intermediate tyres towards the end is a completely different question in of itself, but it's still time on his side right now. We've still got 8 laps to go, and he's on the medium tyres with Sven and Jonathan on the hards. Yes, okay, he's got to try and find 10 seconds, but you know, it's still a good opportunity for him to try and close in on Speedster in the Haas up ahead. So lap 21 then, Surface is still in the lead of this one, and by now those hard tyres are going to be well past their sell-by date at this moment in time, considering the fact that the pit window was lap 15 to 18 and we're currently on lap 21. He's really trying to hold out for this rain. He's got the gap right now, but I wonder, the clouds are starting to form over the Shanghai circuit. I wonder, can his tyres hold on for as long as they possibly can? And if the rain hits too late, then that's not going to help him whatsoever. If the track never gets that damp that requires the intermediate tyres, that's his strategy out the window.
Yeah, absolutely, but he's in a position now where he just has to go for it now. Surely any change now would be just disastrous if the rain does come, as you see Casper getting by on Lewis Welsh now under DRS. That's 2 positions lost at the same corner in the same circumstances in 2 laps for the Red Bull as he starts to go backwards here. You will be hoping for a bit of rain, because we know all these bits that we hear all the time. Well, no doubt the chat will start lighting up when I start mentioning about pad being OP in the rain. Whether that's true or not, I am not going to judge that in any way, shape or form, but he'll be hoping for that. But Surface out front, trying to make these tyres last. They are going to be absolutely dying at the moment. They're going to be really, really short. If we had one of those AWS graphics with a tyre life, they would be red right now. They'd be absolutely dying. But he's really just got to keep going now and hope that the rain comes sooner rather than later. He could lose far too much time. Meanwhile, Danny is closed up to the back of Fabi and also then onto the back of Vasta Racer. So we're about to have a bit of a three-way scrap over 2nd, 3rd and 4th here in just a moment. Danny trying to get the power down through the long curve that is turn 13 onto the back straight. Obviously Fabi will have the DRS to help him as well. Will the Williams driver keep the ERS turned up on this occasion? He does indeed, and he's closing over 200, hitting 211, pulls out of the slipstream just to fill the mirrors of the Ferrari ahead. But Fabi, keeping the cool head on the shoulders, takes the line as normal, doesn't get phased by the Spaniard flying up behind him, and keeps the position for now lap 23 of 28. So that means we have got, what's that, 6 to go if you include the one we're on, if my maths is right. Either way, not far to go now. We're into the closing stages of the race. Surface leads, but he is still to pit. The gap coming down, 5.5 seconds now. So he's losing around about half a second to 3/4 of a second a lap roughly, which, considering these tyres are 22 laps old, is not too bad in all things considered.
No, not at all. And there's still plenty of this race to go. Danny's still trying to get onto the back of Fabi here. Vasta Racer in 2nd place, and Surface hoping that these 3 start battling each other, because that will buy him some time, at least out on track, as we head through that high speed chicane section through that long right-hander of turn 8. Then we head in towards the double left-hander of 9 and 10. And yeah, it's hoping for Surface that that this rain hits at some point and it doesn't hit too late, that it's just worth just staying onto the slick tyres to the end of the race. he'll be hoping and doing some sort of rain dance in the cockpit right now of his Toro Rosso as he makes his way down the back straight. Meanwhile, battle for second place still going on, and I wonder if any of them, Racing Point, Ferrari or Williams, are close enough to each other to try and initiate and move down towards turn 14. It just looks like they're just a little bit too far apart right now, and none of them are going to risk it in towards that hairpin there. Fabi locking up the front right in towards
Surface
the
into the
braking zone
pits.
there. And Surface has finally come into the pits then to, well, assumingly going to put on a set of stock tyres to the end of the race. But it has to be, doesn't it? Because otherwise, I think he's made that decision because his hard tyres were not going to make the rain. If it is going to hit, it's just going to lose him so much time as he falls his way down the field. Yeah, on go the soft tyres for the Toro Rosso as he leaves then the pit box. But yeah, I think that's a decision he had to make rather than wanted to make.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to come out in P10 behind Speedster, so he's still in the points at the moment. That puts Vasta Racer into the lead with Fabi in second and Danny in third. And Danny needs to keep this one clean and tidy. He doesn't need to throw away a third race in a row. That's the last thing he needs to be doing here. Surface could still, if the rain starts to come, as a lot of people are saying in the chat, probably won't. It is starting to spit there, actually. I can see a couple of drops just there on the camera, it looked like there. So it is coming. It is starting to fall, but the soft tyres might actually be the ones to be on because they'll give the most grip. He'll be able to keep the heat in them. He only needs to keep them going for a few laps, and unless it downpours here, it's going to be hard to see how intermediates are going to be worthwhile coming into the pits and wasting 20-21 seconds, it would seem, at the moment. Oh, you can see them running wide. Fabi and Danny both going right. The rain has arrived a lap too late for Surface. If he'd just been able to get another lap or two, it might have been perfect. Here comes Fabi going to the outside here into the hairpin of turn 14. We cut back to see where everyone is. Where's Danny? There he is. That's the camera angle I was looking for. And now we're going to go nearly 3 wide almost into turn 16. Thankfully nobody makes a move there. Danny basically pushing the Ferrari through the final corner, and look in the background, Lee Finley starting to close in just a little bit as well. Sparks getting by on Speedster. Down into turn number 14 we go back to the front of the field because Danny just about looked like he was going to go up the inside. Yellow flag in sector 3. We'll need to come back to that at a later point. I think that might have been Speedster going round because he did just get past there and he's heading for the pits by the looks of the map. Oh, Danny getting a big tank slapper on there, coming out of turn 4 and up towards turn number 5. But Vasta Racer leads at the moment, lap 25 of 28. Speedster retires from the session of what could have been a pretty good race for him. He was in the points for a good part. It should avoid a virtual safety car, as he has done it in pit lane, unlike what Lam McQueen did earlier on, which was a bit naughty. But a few laps to go now. The rain is starting to come. Surface has got a long way to go just to catch up to Jonathan now. He's got 6 seconds just to get there. I think it's not going to work out. The rain came just a lap too late.
Yeah, and the drivers have to make that decision now with 4 laps to go as well. Danny runs a little bit too deep there in towards that left-hander of turn 11, and you can see there Fabi struggling for grip as he gets onto the curb going through the long right-hander there at the beginning of turn 12, and look how much time it's bought Vasta Racer here down the back straight heading down towards turn 14. Both Fabi and Danny making mistakes at the beginning of the 3rd sector there, and Vasta Racer just trying to keep his cool and try and build the gap away as the Ferrari again runs deep into turn
Look at Nolan.
14.
Nolan up the inside, late braking, sorry to cut across you there, just the inside of Liam Parnell, really late in the brakes, just seen it in the background. He managed to keep it under control and avoid contact, and both him and Liam and Lee Finley, Danny's into the pits as well, so Danny's decided intermediates is the way to go, so maybe it is getting wet enough. Another strategic dice roll from the Spaniard. It's not worked out the last 2 races, 3rd time's a charm maybe, we'll need to wait and see, but he's in the pits along with Lee Finley. Nolan's in the pits as well. Surface is now going to be up to P3 on his soft compound tyres and praying he can keep the temperature in them long enough to get through these last couple of laps. DRS now disabled, so it is going to be wet enough, and we've got Belgium all over again, but it is going to be tippy-toeing round for the last few laps unless you go for inters, so we are in for a spicy last 3 laps.
Do you know what? I feel really, really sorry for Surface here.
Oh, yeah.
He's going back on a set of soft tyres. Now it's finally wet enough to put on the intermediate tyres. And I think, unfortunately, those hard tyres were never going to go onto 26 laps. So unfortunate for him. He tried it. Fair play to him. But you can see now how miserable those conditions are. And as Danny, as Welsh has retired from the race then in the pit lane. So no more action from the Red Bull driver in this race. So has Danny made a call that will probably and finally get him onto that top step of the podium? I say finally because in the last 2 races, the decisions he's made have cost him a win. Could this be a move that gains him the win?
Could be. We'll need to wait and see. I mean, he's got quite a bit. He's got 20 seconds to get up to Vasta Racer, who is in the lead of the race. Lewis out the race. So we're down to 14 drivers at the moment, and I don't think Onyx is back in control of his car, so we've only got 13 drivers. And you can see, just look at the understeer there on Vasta Racer's car in the hairpin, and how much he's struggling to get the power down, even in 3rd and 4th gear. It is so slippy out there at the moment. He's going to carry on. He feels he probably has to. Fabi's gone for pit lane, so he's decided, no, I'm going for a set of intermediates. I'm going to get in the pits now. Surface, I seen him, we were on board with him as well. He was struggling too, and well, what could it be? That was either a puncture, it was going to be win or bust basically. And you can see how quickly Danny's closing up onto the back of the Toro Rosso. Fabi in pit lane. It's going to be interesting to see where he rejoins on the track. He's coming down pit lane at the moment. He's already dropped behind his teammate into 6th position. Nolan's going to go through into 7th. He's going to come out in 7th because I think Jonathan's going to get him as well. So Fabi comes back out in 8th position. Lap too late. Oh, Sven's got round the outside of him as well, and Fabi, so down to 9th for him as Danny sweeps on by Surface off camera. It was probably far too easy with a grip there, and Surface is really struggling. Lee Finley just flies on by him as well, and well, what a shame for Surface. Obviously it was win or bust. It came a lap too late. Could have got away with it. Just look at the car. He's struggling to get the power down. And what a shame for the Toro Rosso driver. He's going to fall down the order like a stone. He went for it. He tried it. It wasn't to be. But now here's the interesting point. 8.5 seconds is the gap. It's already down to 7.8, just going through the corners. Vasta Racer is going for it. He's staying out on the hard compound tyre. He's got another 3.6 miles to go once he gets round to the start and finish line. He's got one more lap to do it, or he is going to be taking his 2nd victory. But I don't think he's going to have enough time because Danny is cutting seconds out of him per corner. Lee Finley's on for his 1st podium of the season as well. So Danny's finally made the strategy call as Jonathan gets by on Surface now, who's down to 7th position on the soft compound tyres. 3.6 seconds. You're on board at the moment with Danny. You can see the Racing Point struggling, absolutely struggling along. You'd think it was the equivalent of watching an F1 car racing a Ford Model T. It's going that slow at the moment. One more lap to go. Vasta Racer's going to lose out. It's one lap too long. The intermediates was the right call to do, and Danny is going to have finally nailed the strategy, having messed it out on the last 2 races. Here he goes down into turn 1. Vasta's not going to be able to fight that. Danny MG into the lead of the race on the final lap. Vasta Racer's going to drop down to 3rd in a minute because Lee Finley's going to get the power out the corner, and Liam Parnell's going to take a podium as well here at this rate. Look at Vasta Racer struggling to get the power down. Lee gets through, gets that move done. Liam Parnell now needs to do the same thing, and that knocks the German off the podium. Danny MG, he's got the strategy right this week. He's not got far to go now to the finish line here in China.
No, I mean, Vasta Racer put everything out there. Oh, he's lost the back end there, coming out of turn 6 and just about holds it there as Lambert now gets the move then into P4. And so unfortunate for Vasta Racer, as you say, just a lap earlier. If there was 27 laps in this race, he would have taken a phenomenal race win. But unfortunately, it was just asking too much in these conditions. And Danny here looking to try and take a win in these treacherous Chinese Grand Prix conditions. Lee Finley, by the way, on course to try and get a 1st podium in AOR F1 PS4 at this moment in time. So is Parnell as well in a huge race for him. Jonathan gets the move done on Vasta Racer as Vasta Racer keeps rolling backwards. He might as well be in reverse gear at this point on those hard tyres.
Wait a minute, Danny's slowing down. Danny's lost the lead.
I think he's let Finley through, is he? Going down towards the hairpin.
Is that his repair for what he done in the pit lane? Oh.
Well, I'm not too sure, but they're coming around the final corner now. Is Lee Finley about to get his 1st win?
Round the final corner, I don't have the graphics set up for that one. Goodness gracious, across the line we go, and it's going to be Lee Finley who wins the Chinese Grand Prix. The Scotsman takes his 1st ever top-tier victory on the final lap. What happened there? We'll need to figure out. Did Danny slow down and pay him back for hitting him in pit lane? That's very sportsmanlike if he did with a championship on the line. Danny comes home in 2nd, Liam in 3rd for his 1st podium, Nolan in 4th position, so another good result for him. Sven takes 5th Fabi in 6th, Jonathan and Sim Vasta Racer down to 8th, and I do think, if my maths is slightly correct, which normally it isn't to be perfectly honest with you, I do think Williams might have just stole the Constructors' Championship, so I'll put the graphic up just in case and I'll confirm it later, but they're pretty much there already, so well done to him. But Lee Finlay on the last lap is your race winner here in China. Wow, I didn't expect that one on the last lap.
Not at all. I mean, a previous best result, joint result at round 2 and round 9 of 5th place. And today he stands on top of the Chinese podium as the winner of a dramatic race here. A great drive from the Scotsman. He wins his first race this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be delighted with that. And to be perfectly honest, I'm absolutely delighted for him as well. Lovely guy. Really deserved. He's had a lot of struggles moving over to the wheel in the last season or two. He's finally got the result. His first podium of the season is the top step. We'll need to hear, I hope we get Danny into the interview section, because I really want to hear what happened there. That was really, really interesting to see what goes on. But it is now time for your official, unofficial results with Mr. Kieran McGinley.
Absolutely, and they really are official, unofficial results this time around. Lee Finlay takes his first race win in AOR F1 PS4, with Danny taking second and Parnell in third. That's also his first podium of the season. Lambert in fourth, with Sven in fifth. Fabi sixth, with Jonathan seventh. Vasta Racer did his absolute best to get to the end there on a set of the hard tyres, but on one lap alone, he lost 13.4 seconds. Such was the pace difference between the hard tyres and the intermediate. Sparks in 9th, and Casper recovering to finish in the top 10. Surface 11th, Tactician 12th, Gamer in 13th, Onyx 14th. I think he was a ghost car towards the end there. Welsh, Speedster, Lamakina, Blizzard, and Prinens all retiring from the race here tonight. But Lee Finlay, a first race win for him in AOR Hype Energy F1 PS4 League, and he'll be absolutely delighted at that. And you cannot say he hasn't earned it here tonight.
No, absolutely. He's drove a really, really fine race there. Really kept it all together. He was leading obviously through into the pit stop windows, and then obviously there was a contact between Danny, so we'll need to wait and see if that will be why Danny let him through. Possibly it'll be interesting to hear from them. We'll hope to get them along very shortly into the interview section. But Lee Finlay finally takes that debut F1 top tier AOR victory here in China in a topsy-turvy race. Seen 2 jump starts, a bit of rain at the end, the driver just pit at the last moment. Surface has probably got to be the unluckiest driver of the night in my opinion with that one, because that was so close to being absolute perfection on the strategy. But Danny nailed the strategy as well, having messed up for the last 2 weeks, but then on the last lap Lee comes through, and we'll need to find out, did he let him through or was there a problem?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't think it's going to be a fuel issue, because if it was a fuel issue, he would have been slow for the rest of the race. So, yeah, not entirely sure. It'd be interesting to see if he joins us in the ready for interview box that we have here, which is looking pretty empty right now, Andy. We should probably do something about that.
Yes, I think we should sneak across there and have a jump in, shall we?
Sure.
There we go. So we'll just give it a wee moment or two. We already have our third place driver Liam Parnell in, so we'll give it a wee minute to see if we can get Danny and Lee along as well. Danny certainly knows where he needs to go, that's for sure, because he's done it before. I'm sure Lee knows where to go as well. But well, that was an interesting race indeed. We've got 2 first-time podium takers tonight with Liam and Lee Finlay. But what a race that was. Plenty going on, and we already have the first 2 in. So although we're waiting on the race winner, just to save on time, since we are running a little bit behind because of what happened with the issue between going to qualifying and the race, let's jump straight into the interview sections and hand over to Mr. Kieran McGinley, who's got at least the second and third place driver at the moment.
Yeah, and Andy making the worst decision of the stream so far by handing the interviews over to me. As always, the worst decision of the stream. Anyway, of course, we are going to be joined by hopefully all 3 drivers in this interview phase. But we'll start off with the second place driver in this race and one of the championship contenders in Danny. Danny, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
Great to have you with us. Well, quite a dramatic race. I mean, just talk us through it to begin with.
Well, I messed up qualifying. I had a lot of traffic during my lap, and I made a huge mistake in the second sector. So that meant I started P6. And then as soon as the race started, I think Sven and La Máquina, I think, they both jumped the start. And also Lee got an amazing start as well. So I ended up losing a position at the start, but then gaining two because they had the drive-through. And yeah, I knew I had a lot of pace. So as soon as I pitted and accidentally I hit Lee when I entered the pit lane, I put on my pace and I managed to catch Buster Rather and Fabi.
Yeah, and unofficially right now, you've closed in on your rival there. Obviously, I'll keep asking you this every week, but what's the atmosphere like in the Williams garage right now? Is it okay for now, or is it getting a little bit tense between you both?
No, I think it's okay. There's no tense between. Well, probably there's a lot of tense because we are both fighting for the championship, obviously. But the atmosphere is nice because we both just do our races, and yeah, we battle hard and we battle clean as well.
Absolutely. And obviously, second place this time around, and it looked like a decision finally went your way, having two races where it didn't. That must be a relief on your shoulders.
Pardon, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in the last two races, you made decisions, especially regarding the wet weather, that didn't quite go to plan. It lost your positions, but this time it seemed to be the right place at the right time. That must be a relief for you.
Yeah, both in Australia and in Germany, I messed up the strategy. I did exactly the same thing on both, but a little bit different. And now I just went for the safe option. And yeah, luckily I pitted exactly the lap the DRS got disabled. So I knew Buster Racer and Fabio would have to go to the end, or they would pit and lose a lot of time.
And one thing we should say is that Sven's winning streak almost has been broken. He finished down the order in, where's that now? I believe that's fifth place at the moment, unofficially. So you've got some points on him. We'll have to leave it to Andy to find out the points because I'm terrible with the maths. But heading into the last three rounds then, are you confident? Can you win the championship?
Yeah, I'm confident because I knew that the three last tracks are probably the three best tracks for me in this game. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to get hopefully 3 wins. And also I'm willing to see the likes of Casper, Buster Racer, who are probably gonna fight Sven a lot and fight me as well. So hopefully Sven finishes P4 and myself P1. And in between Casper and Buster Racer.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. There is a chance that Williams have wrapped up the Constructors' Championship tonight, but obviously we'll have to confirm that with the official results later on next week. But I mean, what's it like in the team? Are they trying to prioritize the team first and then let you both battle towards the end, or do you not really focus on that?
No, we really don't focus on the team championship. I think we both just focus on our personal objectives. And well, obviously, as he is my teammate in track, I'm gonna have more respect for him. But well, probably these 3 last races I'm gonna go hard and clean. And yeah, hopefully I can take the 3 wins.
And you've got Canada, which is up next, which is one of my favorite tracks, if not my favorite track on the calendar. How's it for you?
It's one of my best in the game, although it doesn't bring me good memories because I got crashed in the race off last year. So yeah, hopefully this time we can change it.
Well, a confident Danny then, and a relief on your shoulders to get a strategy call right in the last races. But yes, thank you very much for joining us, Danny. Congratulations on your second place, and we look forward to seeing you in Canada.
Thank you. Good evening.
And next in the lineup for the interview is our third place driver, Liam Parnell. Liam, are you with us?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Liam. Well, congratulations, your first podium of the season. Just talk us through that one. It must be a great feeling for you.
Yeah, it's a really great feeling, especially just 2 races after I got my full-time drive. And yeah, it was a really intense race, and I'm really, really happy with the outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And just talk us through that race because it was a dramatic race, especially at the start. Just talk us through your strategy, especially when the rain came.
Yeah, well, I got really, really lucky that Fabi didn't pit it when it was time for the inters, and he carried on for one more lap, or otherwise I would have been stuck in the pits. Yeah, the opening laps were also pretty intense. I was able to avoid any cars that are crashing, and yeah, I got really, really lucky that I was able to not get into an incident. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 3 starts this season. You got ninth, 10th, and a podium. That's amazing for you. So you must be feeling a bit confident going into the next race.
Yeah, problem is my wheel is broken, so I'm probably not able to drive in the next couple of races. I
And
already drove with a broken wheel today, so yeah.
did that wheel break tonight? Did you say?
No. It broke like a month ago, but I was able to kind of fix it, and it's still broken. So I'm really looking forward to see what I can do if I have a repaired wheel, because I think I can go even faster.
Well, that would be fantastic. And yeah, just talk us through that because it looked like you just kept your head down for the whole race there. I mean, let's just have a look. You qualified in 7th place, so you would have started on the medium tyres. And
Mm.
yeah, it just again looked like one of those races you just kept out of trouble and got a podium at the end of it.
Yeah, I screwed up my qualifying a bit, but I think everyone did except Casper. And yeah, I just tried to keep my head down and put in the consistency, put in the laps, and yeah, that's the result for it.
Yeah, and this must be a sign of greater things as well, especially on the back of that podium. That must give you the confidence into the last 3 races. Although you're not in the championship hunt and it's a bit unfair to give you a target for the end of the season, where would you like to be in the last 3 races?
In the championship or on track? Or in the races?
On track, because I think it's a bit unfair to say it in the championship.
Well, I obviously want to win, but I don't think that's possible at that competitive grid. But if I get another podium, if I get my wheel repaired, and if I get another podium, then that would be great. And my main goal is just to get Ferrari away from that last place in the Constructors Championship. That would be also very nice if we get P8 also.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ferrari are I'm guessing they've reiterated to you that they don't want to finish bottom of the table again. And
Yeah.
it looks like after 2 Ferrari performances like that, hopefully they don't want anything to worry about later on. But yeah, just to wrap up with your interview, Canada. Then you've already said hopefully if you get the right wheel and the right way, you could be pretty quick around there. But where are you aiming in that Canadian Grand Prix?
Well, I'm aiming, I guess, for a podium if I'm able to race. But yeah, like Canada is not my best track, but I really got way quicker in the last couple of months. So I think I also could challenge for a podium there.
Well, perfect. I'll leave you for the rest of the night to enjoy your podium, and
Thank
big
you.
congratulations. Well done, and we'll see you in Canada.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And of course, I believe we do have our race winner with us for the Chinese Grand Prix. It is Lee Finley. Lee, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Well, first of all, congratulations on your first win of the season. You must be thrilled about that one.
I honestly, I I honestly, I have no words for this. I've basically, after the race, I literally screamed off the top of my voice and broke down in tears because this switch to the wheel has been a long journey, and to finally be an AOR winner, I am just so happy about that. And oh my god.
Well, I will say as well, you know, your first podium of the season is also a win. I mean, not many people could say that, but just describe us to us. You know, it's been a tough season. It's been, you know, 5th places as you've been your highest so far, and then all of a sudden at China, you're the race winner. I mean, how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels really good. I've been obviously working quite hard to try and improve my pace. I've obviously been adapting my driving style a bit, and my pace around this track was very good. And I have to say, fair play to Danny for letting me through in the final lap because we had a wee incident in the pit lane when he hit the back of me. So yeah, fair play for him. that huge respect. But and yeah, I just feel so happy about that.
And yeah, talk us through that race, because obviously it was a bit hectic to start, a bit hectic in the middle, and a bit hectic at the end. So what was going through your thought process then, especially when the rain hit?
Well, I just thought, yeah, there was a big loss of grip, and I just knew that it'd be time for inters. I saw, yeah, Danny. Well, the front two cars didn't pit. Me and Danny did, and yeah, I thought I'd be the right strategy, and I knew that I'd be able to get on the podium and end up winning the race. So yeah, yeah, great strategy calls all around.
Yeah, perfect. And of course, your teammate Blizzard retired on the first lap. Did he stick around to help you on and cheer you on?
Nah, he left quite early on.
Yeah.
He was just a bit fed up. I think after getting involved in a collision, because he wanted to start outside the top 10 again, but he misjudged the time. He slowed down too much, ended up starting at the back. And if you're starting at the back, then you're likely more likely to get caught in incidents. And unfortunately for him, he got caught up in that. So he wasn't very happy about that.
No, but let's get this conversation back to you. A race win here in China. How about Canada? Are you able to do the double, 2 in a row?
It's not really my strongest tracks. If I'm being honest, I'm decent in qualifying, but race pace I struggle a bit there. So we just have to wait and see. But if I can get near the podium, then I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and let's talk about the last 3 races as well. You've got, I believe it's Canada,
Red Bull.
Austria. That's it. That's it. Thank you, Andy. Austria and Brazil towards the end there. So do you think you can finish off the season strongly?
Yeah, I believe I can. So yeah, yeah, Austria and Brazil are 2 good tracks for me. Canada, it's okay. So I'm just hoping for some good solid points. Maybe get another podium, maybe another win. Just have to wait and see. But I'll just be taking it one race at a time. But China was a great step forward.
Well, big congratulations for you, Lee. We'll leave you for the rest of the night now to enjoy the champagne and enjoy the team celebrations. A big congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in Canada.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And with all 3 interviewed, it's looking a bit empty now, Andy. So back to you.
Thank you very much. I think that's the first time this season we've actually had all 3 in the chat, if I can remember rightly. But either way, absolutely brilliant. Lee, if you can hear us, don't drink too much Iron Brew tonight. And I can't believe that's twice in the one stream I had to remind you about Red Bull Ring.
Yes. You don't have to remind me every 10 seconds.
It was only the first time anyway.
Or evidently you do. I don't know.
It's just one of those things. As you can see on screen, Williams are the Constructors' champions. They needed to beat McLaren by 10 points tonight, and they done that exactly. So there's 132 points left to play if you take in the fastest lap. There's a 132 point gap. Obviously, Williams have 6 victories, which means even if they never scored for the rest of the championship and McLaren won first and second the last 3, it's not going to matter because they won't have enough race victories. So well done to Williams. They have already wrapped up the team's championship with 3 rounds still to go. Now on to your championship standings though. Before we finish up tonight, let me tell you what's going on. So in the Drivers' Championship, Sven still leads. He's on 146 points. Danny's brought the gap down to 116 he's on now, so it's a 30 point gap rather than 38 points. So he's managed to save a little bit there. Vasta Racer still in third on 88. Casper in fourth on 82. Blizzard still on 78 after his retirement tonight. Sparks managed to get himself into ninth, so the point scoring run continues as the Scotsman in the Alfa Romeo tries to go a full season of finishing in the points. He's on 68. Lee's still in 7th, but he's now on 59 points, so he's moved up a little bit. Lewis is in 8th on 36. Nolan is in 9th, moving up 1 place. He's on 34 after taking another lovely result there with P4 tonight. And Prinez rounds out the top 10 on 27. As say, Williams, Constructors' champions, 2 269 points to McLaren's 137. So on count back, that is now insurmountable. So well done to both Danny and Sven for wrapping that one up. Racing Point are in third on 115 points. Mercedes still in fourth on 96. Toro Rosso fifth on 84. Alfa Romeo in sixth on 70. Red Bull still in seventh on 45. Ferrari are up to 8th position now after a great result tonight with Liam on the podium and Fabi getting 6th. So they're now in 8th place on 34 points. Renault on 9th on 30. Haas are now at the bottom of the championship on 23 points. But that is it for another week of Apex Online Racing's Hype Energy F1 League. Thank you very much for joining us for this rerun, so to speak, of the Chinese Grand Prix. We'll be back next week for the final 3 weeks of the season, kicking off in Montreal at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix next Sunday. Myself and Kieran will be back for that, 7 o'clock as always, right here on Apex Online Racing here on YouTube. But until then, thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe, everyone. Keep well. Until next time, my name's Andy Campbell.
And I've been Kieran McGinley.
Take care, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ra.